rest. Beautifully packed, shipped with care, and guaranteed to impress. Calling all office managers or executive assistants. Call Western Nut now and let us make your holidays a little less nuts. But we actually do want you to eat more nuts. For 60 years, Western Nut has been a proud Utah tradition. Stop by our downtown shop for unique gifts, glittering ornaments, festive decor, and so much more. Western Nut Company, more than just the best gifts in Utah. We're a holiday tradition, in-store or online at westernut.com, where quality meets tradition, and every gift is packed with love.
97.5 KZNS FM Colville, 1280 KZNS AM Salt Lake City, and KSL FM HD2 Salt Lake City Midvale. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Here's the tale of the daily landfill, same old pharmacy, same old.
Counting you down to kickoff. This is College Football Saturday with Christian Esparza and Alex Napoles on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. In the beginning of November.
Can't believe it's November already, man.
How was your Halloween?
Time's flying. It was good, dude.
Did you get spooky?
I did not get spooky. I mostly just sat around on my parents' couch and helped my sister distribute candy, and then I went home and hung out with my roommates, and then ate some of their candy. That's pretty much all I did.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing
What
too
are you,
exciting.
like a sour, like gummy Halloween candy, or like chocolate, or?
No, I like the Sour Patch. I like the Starburst.
Give me the Sour Patch Kids
I like the
all day.
Skittles. I like the fruity candy. I'm not much of a chocolate person, but unfortunately, most of the candy available yesterday was chocolate. So
I'm with you.
I did have to go in a little bit on the Snickers and the Twix and the.
I'll tear up a Snickers or a Reese's.
No,
like,
absolutely.
don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
But if I had a choice,
Give me the Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, give me the Sour Patch. Give me the Starburst. Give me the Skittles.
Dude, I think we have a problem in America. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
You said you got plenty of trick-or-treaters at your parents' house.
Yeah, I did.
I had 5 total.
Ugh.
And they all came within a span of, I'm not kidding, like 15 minutes. Like, I don't know. Do kids not trick or treat anymore? I know that the trunk or treats are a big thing. I did see, like, I put it out on Twitter, and Scotty G replied, said he wasn't getting much action. But then, you know, Scotty G's famous. He had a lot of people replying to him with, like, videos of nonstop, like recording the doorway, and it's just nonstop, like a constant flow of kids going up. And a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, we're fine in my neighborhood." So I guess maybe I just don't live in a great trick-or-treating area. I don't know.
Maybe you just live in a neighborhood that doesn't have that many kids.
That could be.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I have noticed that as I've gotten older, less and less houses are like decked out and decorated for Halloween.
That is another thing too.
And you know, we're losing the Halloween spirit.
Both of my neighbors on either side,
Yeah.
like no decorations at all.
Yeah.
And then my house, you know, I got cobwebs, I got pumpkins, I got lanterns, all the things.
There's always that one house that's like super decked out and like, you know, overdoes it.
Yeah.
There's always that one house in every neighborhood, right? But even then, like, I think by my parents' house, there was maybe 4 or 5 houses decorated on the block.
Always next year, I guess.
Always next year.
It is Saturday. That means it is College Football Saturday, Alex. Little bit of a slow one today. We've got BYU and Utah State on bye, but Utah is in the spotlight. They are going to be hosting Cincinnati, number 24 Utah versus number 17 Cincinnati. Enough draw to bring ESPN's College Game Day to town. I've been seeing a lot of videos on social media. Shout out to, I think his name was Jonah. He made the kick.
He did.
For $500,000.
Took him a second try, but he made it.
He got iced. Pat McAfee iced him, which was a dirty move. I didn't think he was allowed to do that. He got iced. He missed the kick for $1 million, and then they gave him another chance to make the kick for $500K, and he did. So that's cool. You know, same story we saw with Big Noon kickoff. It's electric up there at Rice Eccles. I mean, the fans have been out since before the sun was up.
Yep.
Getting ready for this one, and the game's not even until 8:15. So it's always cool to see, that take the national spotlight, and people come in, and Pat McAfee's tweeting about how much he loves Salt Lake City and how electric the environment is, and we love it.
You had Dylan Gunther and Logan Cooley and
Yeah.
Tusky also, making an appearance. The Utah Mammoth get involved too in all the awesomeness that's happening up there on the hill right now with College Game Day. And it was 7 a.m., 7:05, and Pat McAfee was already shirtless on set,
Really?
pumping up the crowd. Yeah, man. 7:05, and the shirt came off. It's great to see Utah in that type of spotlight.
Did he tear it off or take it off?
No, he took it off.
But he put it back on.
Yes.
Okay, because the videos I saw.
Well,
he
actually,
was
I don't know.
shirted.
He's wearing a different shirt now.
Okay.
So
he brings multiple.
He might bring different different things to put on after.
This is my post brunch shirt. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
It's cool to have them here, and for Utah and BYU both to have. I mean, they both hosted Big Noon Kickoff, and then now Utah's hosting Game Day. So essentially 3 times in one season, right? That's special, and it's a very special season for both of the teams locally. And I know, again, BYU's on bye, so we'll spend a little bit of time on them coming up later in the show. But today is mostly going to be a Utah-focused show because they're the only team playing today. So we'll get into that. Of course, hosting Cincinnati, it's a big one. Both of these teams mathematically still alive for the Big 12 championship. Cincinnati more so than Utah. Obviously, Utah would need a lot to go their way. But again, it's a big one. It was big enough for ESPN to choose to be here. I think the biggest storyline of this game throughout the week was there are a lot of people kind of asking if Utah's got a bit of a quarterback controversy on their hands.
That's right.
Specifically because of how how Bird Ficklin played last week. Of course, Devin Dampier did not suit up against Colorado. Bird Ficklin got the start, looked really good. What was it, 53-7 was the final score. He had over 100 rushing yards, including the second play of the game, busted it open for a 60-something yard rushing touchdown, right? So all week long, people have been asking if Devin Dampier really is the guy or if Utah should shift to Bird Ficklin. I'll let you give me your thoughts first.
I like what we saw from Bird Ficklin. I like what we've seen from him all season long, right? He's come in a couple times already this season, and he's looked well in his first start. It was a massive test, right? Utah just coming off the loss against BYU. How were you going to respond against Colorado? And, there was questions. There's probably concerns, right? Having to start your backup QB after coming off a loss and how Utah was going to respond, right? Because there's still that thought of potentially spiraling the way that they did last season. Luckily, you didn't see that. Luckily, Bird Ficklin came in, put up 151 yards on the ground. Like you said, second play of the game had that massive 63-yard run for the touchdown run for Bird Ficklin. And they put the hurt on Colorado, man.
They really did. That was an embarrassing game for the Buffs.
They put the hurt on Colorado, and it was electric to watch. It was electric to see, and I think Bird Ficklin, he's got that dog in him, man. He's got that dog in him.
You think he's dog enough to be the starter over Devin Dampier? Assuming he's healthy, right? Obviously, if you've got a 50, 60% Devin Dampier, Utah feels pretty comfortable with Bird Ficklin. But do you think if they're both relatively healthy, would you choose Bird Ficklin?
I think for the remainder of this season and to finish out what is this 2025 season for Utah, first things first, that you have to win. You have to win out to even give yourself any type of possibility, to even give yourself any type of thought of making it to a Big 12 championship game. You have to win out. I think with the experience that Devin Dampier brings, that probably positions yourself to put yourself in the best position to try to win out.
So you're going with experience?
I think so.
You know what? I'm actually glad you said that. I agree with you. And I was really surprised with how many people were ready to go to Bird Ficklin after one start against a horrendous Colorado team.
Yeah.
Who's to say that Devin Dampier wouldn't have put up the same numbers, if not more, against Colorado?
And it's very well possible because, we talked about it last Saturday, man. Colorado's rushing defense is not great. They are one of the worst in the FBS. And so you're absolutely right, man. If Devin Dampier would have started that game last week against Colorado, you potentially and probably see a similar number that Bert Ficklin put up for Devin Dampier. Absolutely.
And you know what? We actually have a similar instance, right? Because just a couple weeks ago,
Arizona State.
Utah beat Arizona State. Who's a better team, Arizona State or Colorado?
Arizona State.
They have a much better defense than Colorado. Devin Dampier had 120 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns on the ground.
There you go.
He was 104 yards through the air. No touchdowns through the air, but still, it was raining. They weren't throwing the ball. They threw the ball 12 times as opposed to 22 for Bert Ficklin. And guess what? Bert Ficklin only completed 10 of those 22 attempts.
Yeah.
Very subpar. So there have been a lot of people saying that Bert Ficklin is a better passer. And then it's like he throws 10 of 22.
You did have Kyle Whittingham come out and defend that on Monday morning, right?
Yeah.
He said we didn't necessarily see what he sees in practice, right, as far as Bert Ficklin being able to throw the ball. So and we talked about it too a little bit in the postgame. That's probably something that you're going to have to develop and probably string along. It is a true freshman. It's his first start. But 10 for 22. I mean, it wasn't anything eye popping. It wasn't anything phenomenal in the passing game.
Again, and I'm not here to slam Bert Ficklin. I've actually really liked him all
Absolutely.
season. I think he's a fine backup. But to automatically want to shift to him makes no sense to me because it's not like Devin Dampier's done anything wrong. And I know they lost to Texas Tech, and I know the offense got ugly in that one. I know they lost to BYU. Could you really say that they lost that game because of Devin Dampier? I don't know. I think there were throws that were definitely left on the table there, left on the field, that if Dampier would have made, maybe it's a different conversation. But the conversation after that game was not, oh, Utah lost because Devin Dampier played poorly. It was Utah lost because of the analytics, because of the play calling, because of not choosing to go for the field goal, because the offense stalled out in the red zone due to play calling. Like, I don't remember any talk about Devin Dampier being the reason that Utah lost to BYU.
Yeah.
So, again, it's not like Devin Dampier has been playing poorly. Now, we do have the injury thing. That is a question. And he was off the availability report. He's ready to go. It sounds like he is much healthier than he was at least last week and probably a couple weeks ago now that he had the weekend off, right, and has been able to recover. So, yeah, if Devin Dampier is as close to 100% as he can get, I have no doubt in my mind that he's the best quarterback on Utah's roster. I have not seen anything to prove otherwise.
I 100% agree. And I think it ultimately comes down to the experience and it comes down to the leadership that you get from Devin Dampier. If Devin Dampier is as close as 100% that you can get him, I think tonight is a game where you have to start Devin Dampier.
Yeah.
Because there is no tomorrow for Utah. It's do or die. You have to go out there and you have to beat Cincinnati.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's a big one. Game day's in town. You got to get that monkey off your back of not being able to perform when the big networks are here.
Yeah, man.
And so it's very important for Utah to come out and kind of prove that they're worthy of playing on the national stage. I do want to get to some comments made throughout the week about this sort of situation. Let's get to Kyle Whittingham first. He said, he was asked about it on Monday, about this, because again, it was a big topic. Lots of people were talking about it. So this is what Kyle Whittingham had to say about the quarterback controversy. Okay, sorry, my bad. We don't have the cut ready. We'll get to that in a second, but I do think that, Devin Dampier has showed the ability this season, and maybe he hasn't been quite as good as people had thought coming in. But even then, this Utah team has only lost 2 games, and they've lost 2 games to really good teams. And so I don't know where the emotion is coming from of people wanting to jump off of Dampier so quickly. Because again, it's not like a Charlie Brewer, Cam Rising situation where as soon as the backup took the field, you're like, oh, this dude is much, much better.
Right. It was interesting to see the tweets immediately following the game, right, of comparing it to Charlie Brewer and comparing it to the Cam Rising situation a couple years ago. But I think that we're still a ways away from the drawing.
A long ways away.
Yeah, we're still a long ways away from drawing those comparisons. I think, again, not to knock Bert Ficklin, because I thought he came in and when we've seen him come in, he's done a phenomenal job. And I think eventually, right, it's hard to talk about the future in this day and age of college athletics because you don't know where the transfer portal lands. You don't know where players are going to go after the season's over, right? But if Utah is able to retain Bird Ficklin and hold on to him for a couple of years, he is your potential starter down the line. He is probably going to. I mean, he's already seems like a natural, perfect fit in Jason Beck's offense, and so he's probably going to be the guy down the line. Absolutely.
Maybe. But I don't know. We've still got, a lot of games left to be played this season.
Exactly.
And then you gotta get through the summer. And if you do have a quarterback who has taken starter snaps throughout the year and looked pretty good in those snaps, I'm not gonna lie, Bird Ficklin has looked pretty good.
Yeah.
There are going to be teams that come calling.
Right.
He could probably go make twice what he's making at a G6 school.
Right. And I mean, to kind of throw a wrinkle into that as well, Devin Dampier's a junior.
Yeah.
There's still another season under his belt.
Right. He has not played himself into the NFL.
Right. But to kind of go back to the topic and the question, this is a Utah team who's lost to a top 10 BYU and a number 13 Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Right.
Two really freaking good football teams.
Exactly. And I know it sucks. I know it's unfortunate that the offense stalled out and the offense didn't look great against those two opponents on the biggest stages. Right, big noon kickoff available there for both of those. Massive Big 12 implications on the line. The offense wasn't up for it, and I know that looking back on it, it might hurt, right? Especially if you're in a tiebreaker and if you're in some sort of tie to potentially make it to a Big 12 championship game, that might hurt come down the line.
Yeah,
but I don't think Devin Dampier has done anything to play himself out of a starting.
No, it's not like the season is lost just because you don't make the Big 12 championship. Look at what BYU did last year.
Right.
Going to the Alamo Bowl and everything that seems to have done for them this season.
Right.
It was a stepping stone.
And that's a conversation, too, we had on the postgame last week, right? I mean, just compare it to where Utah was last season.
Right. This was a team that won 5 games last year.
Exactly. 7 straight losses. They didn't make a bowl game. You're already positioned in a better spot to make that bowl game. And to, you've already improved from what you did last season. Yeah. And I think that's a massive step in the right direction for Utah.
It's not like it's the NFL where, for example, the Dolphins are on like a really bad slide this year. So what are they going to do over the last half of the year? Sell their players and tank. Like you don't have any benefit in moving to the younger players just to move to them. I mean, I guess you could say that, you could see how good of a player Bird Ficklin is, but if you're this confident in him already, we've heard a lot of praise, you're honestly probably better off hiding that. Because if he keeps playing and keeps playing well, he's going to raise his price tag.
Right.
And so it's almost more of a benefit to keep Bird Ficklin as a hidden gem. And then if you get into the summer, because the development that Bird Ficklin is going to make even in the next 9 months, maybe he'll be good enough to be the starter then you can have a true quarterback competition over the training camp and over the summer and whatever.
Right.
But that's not right now. Bird Ficklin is still a true freshman. He still has a lot that he needs to work on. And Devin Dampier is not a perfect player either. But as you're saying, with the leadership and the experience and the knowledge of this system, it makes no sense to move off of Devin Dampier just to move off of him. Yeah.
And funny, it reminded me of a comment made by Joey McGuire after Will Hammond came in against Utah. And he was like, look, we've already signed this guy off. He has an NIL contract, right? He's not going anywhere. Don't even think about coming to poach him. Maybe, we see a similar situation with Bird Ficklin, right?
Exactly.
Because I think that's a talent that Utah has to hold on to. Especially because I think iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
And once you get to that, once you get to the spring ball, once you get to the fall camp, right, that might end up turning out to be a very fun quarterback competition where both Devin Dampier and Bird Ficklin can make each other better and make Utah better into the next season. I think that would be best case scenario for Kyle Whittingham and the Utes.
Yeah. And we will see because, again, the transfer portal has been moved to just one window.
Yeah.
Around, I don't think the exact dates have been set, but it's going to be around the same time as the college football playoff, which is interesting. That's a whole other wrinkle in itself. But there is no more spring transfer portal window. So it's not like you could have the quarterback competition in spring camp and then whoever loses decides to transfer. It's a little bit different now. They're going to have to, make the decision if they want to hold on to both of them by early 2026. So we will see. I do want to get to Kyle Whittingham's comments because he came out and gave his thoughts on the quarterback controversy or lack thereof.
I can tell you we got a lot of confidence in Bird, especially after what we saw on Saturday night. But Devin is still QB1. Make no mistake, there's no QB controversy or of any sort. We'll just have to measure Devin's progress day by day and see where he ends up. He's got a lot of input. He's an experienced vet, and Saturday night he just says, "Hey, I'm just not feeling it. I'm ready if you have to have me." He was ready for an emergency situation if it came to that. But we'll lean on Devin a lot. He's going to do what's best for the team. Devin's a team guy, and we'll just see how things progress.
And, of course, that was Monday before it was known that Devin Dampier was going to play. And, of course, you know how Whittingham is, right? He plays his cards very close to the vest. He knew Monday that Devin Dampier was going to play today.
Yeah.
But he kept saying, I don't know. We'll wait for the availability reports. No, he knew.
Yeah, he knew. To go back to one of the comments that you made last week, too, this and compared it to the Sam Levitt situation a couple weeks ago when Utah played Arizona State, right? Last week, you knew what was coming. You knew you had a Colorado team that doesn't necessarily have the greatest defense, wasn't necessarily the greatest threat defensively, that wasn't necessarily the greatest threat to come into Rice-Eccles Stadium to walk out with a win. But you knew Cincinnati was coming to town next week, and you knew that game was going to be massive.
Yeah.
So you take that gamble. You see enough on tape where you feel comfortable to start Bert Ficklin. Devin Dampier says he's not feeling 100%, saying he's not ready. You feel comfortable making that change. You feel comfortable making the decision of starting your true freshman quarterback and letting Devin Dampier rest for the week. That's kind of what I get from that cut, and kind of from what I get from that is Utah knew what was coming. They knew that Cincinnati was in town this week. They knew that this game was going to be absolutely massive if they want any chance and if they have any desire of being in that Big 12 championship game. So let Devin Dampier rest. I think you're absolutely right. I think even Monday when he's making that comments, he knows who's going to be his starting quarterback.
Yeah. To reset it a little bit, remember, Arizona State came to Rice-Eccles a couple weeks ago. Sam Levitt missed that game, Arizona State's quarterback, because they had Texas Tech the next week. And I'm assuming that Dillingham's thoughts were, you know what, Texas Tech is a bigger game than Utah at the time, even though they're both big games, right? But they'd rather rest Sam Levitt, get him as healthy as possible for Texas Tech, than play Sam Levitt versus Utah and potentially lose him for the rest of the season. Now, ironically enough, Sam Levitt earlier this week was announced that he is done for the rest of the year. I think it might be a different injury, or maybe it's the same one that got re-aggravated. I don't know. But I did make that comparison last week because it's an even different situation with Utah because, like you're saying, Colorado is an easier win with your backup than Utah would be for Arizona State. So it's a big one. And Utah had a decision to make last week, and the decision they made was, let's play our backup because our backup might not win against Cincinnati, but he can probably win against Colorado. And we feel comfortable with Devin Dampier taking a week off and getting healthy for Cincinnati because that is a much bigger game. So.
This is the game you want your quarterback to be 100% for.
And then I do want to get to another cut real quick before we wrap. Jason Beck was talking about Bert Ficklin, the offensive coordinator, Jason Beck, of course, being sort of a natural fit for this offense and a natural backup for Devin Dampier, which is funny because we had been speculating about this all season, right? Like going back to camp, it was, okay, Isaac Wilson has the year of experience, but we know that that Bert Ficklin is more the running type. So what's it going to look like when Devin Dampier needs to miss time? Who's going to play? And in all of the instances this season, we saw Bert Ficklin. We did see Isaac Wilson for the first time last week, just for a little bit, but that's when Utah, of course, had pulled Bird and the rest of the starters. So it seems like, Bert Ficklin has taken over as the true backup. This is what Jason Beck had to say about that.
That's been the thing with Bird is he kind of fits our offense right now, both in terms of what Devin does, but also in terms of what's best for our team. And that is a run-first approach, a running quarterback, adding the numbers. And so he's kind of provided being a natural backup that way. And it's played to his skill sets. There's a minor things of being lefty and working some things that way. But otherwise, it's allowed it to kind of transition pretty seamlessly.
It reminds me of Tyler Huntley with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, how many times has he been cut or let go by the Ravens, and then they have to play another crappy backup, and it doesn't work, and then they bring Tyler Huntley back because he seamlessly fits into that offense, because he has a very similar playing style to Lamar Jackson. It's a similar thing here, right? And it makes it easy when you have another quarterback with a very similar skill set. You don't really have to change the offense up that much. So, I mean, again, we had kind of been saying this all season. Jason Beck was just confirming it.
Yeah. Jason Beck seems like he likes his dual threat quarterbacks. He likes a quarterback who can run. He likes the quarterbacks who can make the decisions on the RPOs of whether to call your own number, right? Whether to get handed off, get rid of it. And it seems like Bert Ficklin has those characteristics. It seems like Bert Ficklin is as he said, the natural backup to Devin Dampier, because he just has a similar skill set and he has a similar characteristics to what we see from a Devin Dampier. And so it makes perfect sense that Bert Ficklin was able to win that backup position and make himself the QB2 for the Utes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we had been seeing that all season, and it was just a matter of, kind of confirming it after we had already known. Because, he got the start, and Isaac Wilson didn't. So, some injury news for the Utes. Last night's availability report came out. Of course, we are going to get another one 90 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna change much more from this one. Out for Cincinnati, Evan Pryor, the running back. He's their leading rusher in terms of yardage because he's hit a couple home runs. They've got another dude who gets a bulk of the carries, but Evan Pryor, their main, lightning to the Thunder, is out for this one. And then linebacker Terrell Holcomb is out. For Utah, wide receiver Tobias Merriweather is out. Defensive tackle Dallas Valkalahi is out. And then breakout star Semi Talanga is out. He's listed as a D tackle, but that's our...
Yeah.
What do we even call that formation where they put him in at tight end? Remember, he had a couple receptions versus BYU.
Yeah, he had a couple. There's a couple of big man throws.
Yeah.
Or big man catches against BYU. Tobias Merriweather, out last week.
Yeah.
Continues to be out this week. It's again, I think he was the guy that I had circled as the person that I thought was going to come in from the transfer portal and be the guy. To say the least about Tobias Merriweather, it's been underwhelming. It's been disappointing. This is a perfect opportunity for a guy like Larry Simmons, though, to step in and kind of make himself be the guy, right? Ryan Davis is there, but Utah needs another receiver. They need another threat. With Tobias Merriweather out, Larry Simmons had one big catch last week against Colorado. I'm going to be keeping an eye on Simmons tonight to see if he can kind of find some separation and make himself be another reliable target for Devin Dampier.
It is pretty mind-blowing how behind Ryan Davis, they have not had another wide receiver step up. And, of course, you've seen J.J. Buchanan be very consistent throughout the year. Dallin Bentley also as well has come up and made some really big plays. And then, yes, Larry Simmons has flashed here and there, but it's really been, as far as the wide receivers, it's been Ryan Davis and literally nobody else.
Yeah.
And so that is a very glaring weakness on this Utah roster, and they're trying to work around it. So we'll see how that looks.
You have Ryan Davis, who up to this point of the season has 518 through the air. Dallin Bentley, 369. J.J. Buchanan has 156, and then Tobias Merriweather has 130. Larry Simmons coming up with 120, and then from there, nobody else has.
What do the receptions look like? What's the reception totals? Do you know how that pulled up?
Yeah. No, I got it. Ryan Davis, 48.
Okay.
The next highest, of course, Dallin Bentley with 30. And then from there, J.J. Buchanan has 13. It's quite the drop-off.
That's huge.
You go from 30 for Dallin, 48 for Ryan Davis, to 13 for J.J. And you know who's behind J.J.? Smith Snowden with 13.
Really? And
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't seen much of him on offense. And
Exactly.
I'm sure Hunter Andrews was probably up there because he was playing a big part before he went out for
10.
the season. 10?
Hunter Andrews comes with 10.
And he only played, I think 3 or 4 games?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember exactly when he got hurt.
Yeah, dude, this wide receiver room needs a big overhaul in the offseason.
Yes.
No surprise there.
I think if that's you got to find something in the portal.
Yeah.
This offseason for sure. Right, you lose Ryan Davis, right? He is a senior. He will be moving on at the end of the season, and so I mean, you have to find more talent in the transfer portal pool this season to help that wide receiver room because it has not been great this season.
Agreed, man. Let's take a quick break. Coming up next on the other side, we will continue to break down this Utah team. I liked what we saw last week against Colorado. Can they keep that up today against Cincinnati? We'll get into that next. Stick with us. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. It's College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Here's the tale of the daily Medfield. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings Wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insurance.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
The peak of Utah cuisine isn't just about the sky-high city views. It's about food that makes you feel like you're home. Join us 10 floors up at the Roof for unforgettable views and a culinary experience that's uniquely Utah. The Roof Restaurant, located on the 10th floor of the historic Joseph Smith Memorial Building, will be reopening to the public on Friday, November 14th. The all-new restaurant design and an a la carte menu promise to deliver familiar Utah flavors with unforgettable flair. Whether it's Utah classics or historic remixes, these dishes are a tribute to the Beehive State. Indulge in the house-made Utah peach flatbread, reimagined funeral potatoes, perfectly cooked steaks, and local honey-drizzled desserts. But we don't stop there. The new menu features delicious entrees like birria beef, pork ossobuco, peach glazed chicken, fish and chips, specialty mac and cheese. The list goes on. You'll want to come back to try each item. Take your dining experience to the next level, literally. Preview the new menu and make your reservation today at theroofslc.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I pushed through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. If anything rivals our burgers, it's our bacon. It makes the perfect combination with our guacamole, jalapeno, or our hickory barbecue burgers. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me. Time for a quick scoreboard update. Number 1, Ohio State taking on Penn State, 7-0 for the Buckeyes. 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Number 20, Texas hosting number 9 Vanderbilt. A huge game for the SEC this morning. Texas leads 10-0. Arch Manning is playing, by the way. That was a big storyline there. Number 10 Miami at SMU. Miami ahead 7-0. 4 minutes left in the first quarter there. And over to the Big 12, number 22 Houston is hosting West Virginia. And guess what, Alex? West Virginia leads 14-0, up big early for the Mountaineers. That's a huge game with huge Big 12 implications. And then Baylor is hosting UCF. Baylor leads 14-0 early on there. What are your thoughts on that Houston game?
Wow. Kind of surprising. I know, coming into this week, really, like, nobody's talking about Houston. And I think we might get into this later here with the Big 12, with talking about how the Big 12 can shape up. But just to put it out there, Houston kind of is one of the teams that controls the destiny of Utah right now, because they're a one-loss team in the Big 12.
Yeah,
and they're one of the teams that stand in the way of potentially Utah, if they get another loss, and if Utah wins out, of potentially making it to that Big 12 championship. And so, if West Virginia can give Utah a big help, that'd be massive for the Utes.
These are the records at the top of the Big 12. BYU and Cincinnati, of course, 5-0 in Big 12 play. BYU is 8-0 overall. Cincinnati does have the one loss. Texas Tech and Houston have one loss apiece. Texas Tech lost to Arizona State. Houston lost to Texas Tech, so it's a mess up there. And then Utah has 2 losses along with Arizona State, and Kansas State, and TCU. So, if somehow Houston would lose to this West Virginia team today, that would knock them down to 2 losses and really create, a clunky middle pack. And with Houston, a lot of people were talking about they have a cake schedule the rest of the way. They play West Virginia today, then they're at UCF, then they're at home versus TCU, then at Baylor. A lot of people thought that they could potentially win out. Now, there is still a lot of time left in this football game, of course, midway through the first quarter. But for the Mountaineers to be up 14-0 early, it's a sign of chaos that could come, because we saw last year the season ended with a 4-way tie atop the Big 12, and this very well could end up being a similar thing.
And I think as you look at this conference and as you look at the remaining schedules, right, you hear a lot of talk about how Texas Tech has a pretty decent remainder of the way, right? I think their last big test will be, of course, BYU. You think about even Utah to finish the season has kind of a favorable schedule, if you will, even though this Cincinnati game is probably their biggest test and will be their biggest test to close out the season. But in this conference, man, you just never know.
No.
I hate looking at the schedule and being like, oh, yeah, Houston has an easy schedule. Because the reality is, in the Big 12, you just never know.
And college football in general.
And this is college football in general, yes. But in this conference, it just a little bit more specifically. And I feel like that West Virginia score right now, obviously, still a long way to go. But if that holds, man, that would be massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely
massive.
massive.
See, we'll keep you updated throughout our show. Of course, the game will probably not be over by the time our show's over, but we'll keep you updated for sure. I want to get back into this Utah game. One thing I noticed last week against Colorado, it seemed like they had something to prove. The Utes did against Colorado. Coming out of that loss against BYU, Utah wanted to come in and prove that they are still a really good football team. I think that was evident from the jump. Of course, again, opening up the game, Bray had like a 12 or 13-yard run, and then the very next play, Ficklin takes it 63 yards to the house. And from then, it was barbecue chicken, like Utah absolutely dominated that win. And I think part of the reason is they were riding kind of an emotional roller coaster. They wanted to prove something. They wanted to bounce back after losing to their rival, after losing to BYU. There was so much talk about how after Utah lost to BYU last year, of course, they were already kind of sliding before then. But after that BYU game, the season absolutely unraveled and got out of hand. And I think that it was very evident they didn't want to let that happen again. So they came out and made sure to make last week's win over Colorado a statement game. And I for their sake, for Utah's sake, I hope that, they can do that again. And it's hard to replicate that same emotion each and every week. And I think that can kind of be a dangerous mindset too, as far as still wanting to prove something from a loss 2 weeks ago. And I'm not saying that that's what they're trying to do, right? I don't know what Kyle Whittingham's saying in the locker room, but I want to see them come out and play that way again without having to be like, oh, we're playing this way because we lost to BYU.
Yeah. It goes back to the old adage: you can't let a team beat you twice, and you have to go out and you have to show out. And they had to show out against Colorado, and poor Colorado got the brunt of it, man. I think ultimately, though, the thing that stood out to me, and I think probably the thing that stood out to most people, is how dominant the defense for Utah was.
Yes.
Not allowing Caden Salter to do anything. They brought the blitz, they brought the pressure time and time again, and Caden Salter had no answers.
Well, they had like negative 13 yards at the half.
Yeah, man. I have a screenshot here from the halftime statistics. A little bit before the halftime statistics, they had -8 total yards after that last Utah touchdown drive, to go up 40-0 before halftime. Utah had 386 yards total compared to Colorado's -8, and I think they ended up with -18 at the at the actual halftime break.
That's ridiculous.
Just absolutely dominated Colorado, man, from start to finish. And I think ultimately with that performance, right, you show that you still have a lot to play for, obviously, and then you show, of course, to the rest of the conference that Utah's still there, man. You can't count them out of the race, and I think that's the statement you had to make last week, and that's the statement they put out there last week.
Not even count them out of the race, but also reestablishing that Rice-Eccles is not a fun place to come in and play, because that's the reputation that they built up over years and years being in the Pac-12. And people knew that if you had to travel to Rice-Eccles Stadium, it was going to be an extremely tough game, especially if it was at night. And winning back-to-back games at home against Arizona State and Colorado in dominant fashion, it's showing that they're kind of putting an emphasis on, hey, we gotta take our house back.
Yeah.
We gotta prove that, even though we are new to this conference, people can't just come in here and expect an easy game. We got to make this tough. And, Cincinnati's a much tougher team than Colorado is. Cincinnati's a much better team than Arizona State was without Sam Leavitt. So this is a true test, right, as far as reestablishing that home winning streak and the reputation at home. But if you can get the win today and make that 3 home wins this season when you hadn't had any coming into it, that's huge, because you got to take that back.
Yeah. Shout out to whoever asked Kyle Whittingham the question and in that press conference, right, and brought up to him and said that, hey, did you know you haven't won a Big 12 game at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, because since then, Utah...
He's like, oh, really?
Dominated the rush game against Arizona State, and then, of course, last week dominated against Colorado. And so... a different
you really think he didn't know?
No, I feel like he knew.
He had to have known.
I feel like he knew.
Maybe he was just upset that the other people were finding out.
Yeah. I think he knew, and then once it was like presented to him,
he's like, "Oh, I'm getting asked about this."
He was like, "All right, well, we got to do something about this now." And ever since he was asked the question, it was brought to his attention in his Monday press conference. Utah has looked dominant at home, man. Complete turnaround from what we saw last season, right? Yeah. From their performances at home, and then, of course, what we saw them do against Texas Tech in their first Big 12 game at home this season.
Their last 2 home games, so Arizona State and then Colorado, they have outscored their opponents 95-17.
That's insane.
95-17 across their last 2 home games.
That's how you reestablish that Rice-Eccles is not a fun place to be.
Right. And it's a tough test today with Cincinnati. I can't overstate that. They are ranked higher. They're the number 17 team in the country. Again, they are the number 2 team in the Big 12. So this is a real test.
Yeah.
And it's going to prove where Utah's going to stand. Like they played pretty good against Texas Tech for 2.5 quarters, maybe 3. They played okay against BYU.
Yeah.
So how do you come in and look against, I guess, another top-tier team against Cincinnati.
To go along those lines, right, and to bring it back a little bit to that Colorado game last week, I think it's important that after you have that performance, I think it's important to stay grounded and not get overconfident because of the way you played against Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm sure the coaching staff does a phenomenal job of not allowing that to happen, but it is, once you're under those lights and that crowd is behind you, maybe there's a different feeling. And so I think it's about controlling that emotion of not getting too overconfident and realizing that this Cincinnati team is a lot better and a lot different than what you saw last week against Colorado. And so continue to have that same motivation, continue to have that same, determination to be as dominant as you were last week. But don't get too overconfident about it, because Sorsby has been fantastic for Cincinnati.
Yeah,
and he's dangerous, man.
He is dangerous. One of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12. We will get into that actually coming up later in the show. We'll take a quick break here. Coming up next, we do got to hit some Cougars and Aggies. Both of those guys on bye this week. So we'll talk some BYU and Utah State next, and then we'll continue to break down this Utah versus Cincinnati game. Stick with us. It's College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Win big every Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with Win Ticket Wednesday. This Wednesday, win tickets to step into the magic at Holiday Lights at the Ballpark at America First Square. A brand new immersive holiday tradition opening on November 14th. Reserve your tickets at the ballpark at AFS.com and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, Utah! Are you ready for the Utah Mammoth to hit the ice? From game-winning goals to behind-the-scenes moments, Mammoth Plus brings the action to you all season long. Whether you're at home, on the go, or in the stands, don't miss a single shift. Visit UtahMammothPlus.com and start streaming today. That's UtahMammothPlus.com. Every game, every goal, live on Mammoth Plus.
Tom, I'm on the sideline here with Doug Smith Chevy. Doug, the NCAA has changed its rules regarding NIL money. What do I have to do to land an amazing new 2025 Chevy Silverado?
Just come on down to Doug Smith Chevy in Spanish Fork.
Doug, I'm more than happy for you to use my name, image, and likeness. All I want to know is, how do I get one?
You have to buy it, Scott.
Together, let's drive. Get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months for well-qualified buyers when you finance with GM Financial on all new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s. No one knows Chevy like Doug.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Get the latest Utah sports headlines delivered to your inbox with the KSL Sports Newsletter. From the Jazz, Utah Hockey Club, BYU, Utah, Real Salt Lake, and more. Be in the know of all things sports in the state of Utah. Visit KSLSports.com to sign up for the KSL Sports Newsletter. The KSL Sports Zone and Hercules Credit Union are highlighting people that impact youth sports. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com.
counting you down to kickoff. This is College Football Saturday with Christian Esparza and Alex Napoles on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Alex Napoles. That's Christian Esparza. As we get you ready for Utah taking on Cincinnati tonight. A massive, massive showdown in the Big 12 happening up at Rice-Eccles Stadium tonight. In front of the Muss, in front of the home crowd. The Utes fired up with college game day here. But, of course, there are other teams in the state that we have to talk about real quick. BYU, Utah State. And we'll start with the Cougars because 8-0, man. Back-to-back seasons with BYU going 8-0, undefeated. And right now, it's a priority down in Provo. For them to be able to do this with Bear Bachmeier and to be able to do it with a freshman quarterback, incredible.
Well, and their win over Iowa State was phenomenal. I mean, it was the type of game where, and we kind of saw it earlier against Colorado, they go down 14-0, and then against Arizona, you know, they really struggled with that one, and they didn't score for like 3 quarters. The game last week against Iowa State, they go down early, and they have to fight their way back, and credit to Bear Bachmeier, credit to Aaron Roderick for doing this with the freshman quarterback. You know, Iowa State kind of has trouble scoring over 27 points ever. So they hit that 27-point mark, and BYU was kind of able to figure out, you know, things defensively, but really it was the offense that got going. And I think that Bear Bachmeier is the best passer in the state, which is crazy as a true freshman, and especially that's not really what he was known for, right? We know Bear Bachmeier because he's willing to tuck it and run it, but dude, he can sling that rock.
Yeah.
And it really helps when you've got Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston, who whenever they catch the ball, they're able to take it for at least another 10, 15 yards, it seems like. And they did lose LJ Martin, and that's going to hurt. We don't know how long he's going to be out. There's a chance he could be back next week. We will see. But, dude, the Cougs are rolling. And as you're saying, 8-0 after a 9-0 start last year, it's a new start for Kalani Sitake's time at BYU. Like, I realize that this is his 10th season, and I realize it's their 3rd season in the Big 12, but it really feels like last year and this year is the start of a new era, I guess.
No, absolutely. They've done phenomenal. I thought, you know, last season Iowa State gets the ball, right? BYU just kicked a field goal. They get the ball back. They bleed the clock out, take it 80 yards, take 7 minutes off the clock, right? You get it down. You get it down to under 2. You score the touchdown. You're up 24-10. It felt like BYU's backs was up against the wall a little bit there, heading into that halftime break. But then you march down the field. You take it 60 yards. You score a touchdown, and that was kind of for me the moment it changed in feeling of, oh, I think BYU might, you know, might not be able to make it out of Ames with a win to, hey, they're still in this.
I totally realized that you weren't able to do post game last week.
Yeah.
So I haven't got your thoughts on that. No, I think, and that's what Hatch was kind of saying when he was filling in. I actually think the tides turned earlier. I was pointing to when BYU got the interception in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It was Latui. Funny enough, the defensive end dropping back in coverage. BYU kicked a field goal after that interception. Now, they did allow an Iowa State touchdown. Then BYU responded with a touchdown. But it felt like that interception is what woke BYU up, because before then, they had punted. They went 3-and-out on their previous drive. They went 3-and-out earlier in the game, and then they punted the previous drive right before that. So, really, 2 scoreless drives, and then they get the interception to wake them up and kind of ignite that team. And then you know, the half ends and you go into halftime, and it really felt like all the momentum was on BYU's side. So it was kind of interesting to watch that unfold in real time. And then by the end of the game, I mean, BYU finished with 3 picks, including a pick 6.
Yep. Satsuwala, man, fantastic. Yeah. I love being able to see. First of all, I loved watching his games with Bountiful. him being a local product, him being a part of the local high school football scene. Loved watching him at Bountiful and being a part of that. Being a part of that team that had a deep tournament run. Satsuwala, you can see even from his high school times that he's got a lot of talent, man, and he's got a really high ceiling, and it's awesome to see it come to life at the college level.
Yep.
He's been an amazing revelation for BYU this season, and I'm excited for what he's able to do down the road and as he furthers his collegiate career. Satsuwala is amazing, but I think the thing that stood out, that one of my favorite plays from this game was obviously the punt. That, I always say punts it away. The player gets pushed into the ball.
Yeah.
BYU recovers. Amazing awareness on the special teams there from BYU.
Yeah, and I'm spacing who the player was. I think it was maybe Chase Roberts or Parker Kingston was on with Hans and Greg Rebel in their post-game show. And whoever the player was, I'm sorry, I can't remember. He said that special teams coach Kelly Papinga had kind of brought that up and said, hey, these guys are not aware of the ball. So if that ball hits the ground, stay on your guy, block them into it. And that's literally exactly what happened.
Yes, it's exactly what happened. And again, credit to Papinga, credit to the coaching staff for recognizing that and for drilling it into their players that if that's a situation that happens, we're going to get the ball back. And that's exactly what you saw.
That's BYU's second game in a row creating a takeaway on punt.
Yeah. Which
is huge because, you think a punt, obviously you're giving the ball to the other team, but then if you're able to take the ball right back, it's essentially, a 40, 50-yard chunk play.
Yeah.
So that works out real nicely.
I think for BYU right now, as they're on the bye, we take a moment to reflect on the previous 8 games. And I think right now it's a perfect storm of you have a phenomenal group of veterans who came back from last season, who are still a core part and a big part of the team that you see today for BYU. You have a perfect combination of coaches and coaching them up and being the leaders for this group, right? The big question, of course, was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen a lot of conversations this week, too, on social media and online about how comparing, whether BYU was better under Jake Retzlaff last season or against under Bear Bachmeier. And it feels like this season, Bear Bachmeier is doing enough to say that they are better with the true freshman quarterback.
Well, and Jake Retzlaff got benched at Tulane the other day.
Exactly. That's why I was bringing that up. 2 interceptions, and he ended up getting benched at Tulane.
They lost 48-26 at UTSA.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, I had stopped paying attention to them. Of course, the first few weeks of the season, I was kind of keeping an eye because of the storyline, and he was actually playing really, really well. So to hear that he was benched is kind of surprising, but I mean, clearly it's working for BYU, and they found something in Bear. And to think of the situation of not only are you going from an experienced quarterback to a true freshman, but then you got to take into account, like, all of that happened after spring ball, right? Bear Bachmeier played his spring ball at Stanford, not in Provo at BYU. He didn't get to this team until the summertime, and he was able to not only learn the offense, but take over the starting job and play to this level and continue to get better every week. Like, that's very, very impressive. So again, I think the big storyline now for BYU is the health of the players. Jack Kelly still not 100%. Isaiah Glasker pretty banged up. Then you've got your running backs, LJ Martin, unknown status on him. Sione Moa, not really sure what's going to happen. Possibility you might get JoJo Phillips back soon. We will see there, but it's a really much-needed bye week for the Cougs.
Much-needed bye week to be able to work on that, to work on your health, and to prepare for a massive test against Texas Tech next week.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one. For Utah State, disappointing loss.
I can't believe they lost. Okay, I can believe they lost. I can't believe they lost
in the
like that.
In the fashion that they did. Yes,
33-14 in Bronco Mendenhall's return game to Albuquerque.
We talked about it on College Football Saturday last week, right as we were leading into the game. We talked about how the Utah State offense seems like they have, in the case of a shootout, they seem like they have enough on offense to be able to stay up in that shootout.
Yeah.
Boy, were we wrong.
they just fell apart. They couldn't move the ball at all. They couldn't do anything. And that's the first time that we've seen that all season. We hadn't really seen anybody shut down outside of, the SEC teams that are ranked.
Right.
Vanderbilt and A&M are two of the best teams in the freaking country, and Utah State had to play both of them. Nobody else had been able to shut down USU's offense, but New Mexico found a way, man.
Holding it was just 14 points. That's obviously their lowest point total of the season. Again, we talked about it. I thought that they had enough to stay up in a shootout, and they didn't, man. Credit to New Mexico. Credit to Coach Eck and his guys for being able to contain Bryson Barnes in that offense, man. Obviously, there's still a lot on the table for Utah State. The Mountain West race probably just got a lot tougher for them to try to position themselves in a chance to make it to that championship game. But I mean, bowl eligibility is still on the table, and I think even just making a bowl game for Utah State this season would be a massive step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I think against New Mexico, it shows that this team still has a little bit to go.
Yeah, their Mountain West title games are Mountain West title hopes are cooked.
Yeah.
But their win total coming into the year was, I think, 5.5 wins. So if you can be bowl eligible and be better than, Vegas thought you were going to be, I guess that's a step in the right direction. And, it's Broncos' first season, so you can't expect a lot of great things, his first year here, because he's still going over a tremendous overhaul with the roster and the coaching staff and establishing the culture up in Logan and all the buzzwords, right?
Yeah.
So give it another, couple months, give it another season or two, and then I promise Utah State is going to be knocking on double-digit wins every single season.
Absolutely.
Because that's what Bronco does, man.
Everywhere he goes, he's a proven winner.
Yeah.
He's a proven winner. We're going to take a quick step away here on College Football Saturday. When we get back, we'll jump back into this Utah-Cincinnati game. We'll talk about this Cincinnati offense and that Cincinnati defense and with the challenge that Brendan Sorsby and Cincinnati will present for the Utes tonight at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Again, that game kicking off 8:15 tonight. Remember to catch the post-game show tonight immediately following the game with Christian Esparza and myself. We'll be on air and live streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, and KSLSports.com. More to go on the other side here on College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Stuck in the office.
I believe you have my stapler.
In your car or at your in-laws.
You want a piece of me? You bet I do.
The Zone is with you every step of the way. Download the KSL Sports app to get live streaming of your favorite shows and access to all the latest updates on your favorite teams. Your home for the best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Attention, RV owners or RV wannabe owners. It's the used RV blowout sale. RVs from all over the Intermountain West have been sent to the Layton Hills Mall for this RV liquidation event. Repos, buybacks, rental returns, and trade-ins. Blowout pricing. Every RV has been inspected, serviced, and ready to go. Free admission, free parking, dealers welcome. It's the used RV blowout sale that has been extended now through Saturday, 10 a.m. to dusk. Go to UtahRVEvent.com. Sponsored by Paris RV. Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH, that sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month. Zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Attention Jazz Nation. The long wait is finally over. Mountain basketball is back and better than ever. Let's go! All tickets are on sale now, and you won't want to miss the action. Jump on the opportunity to watch your favorite players live and in person. Whether you're after season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, the Utah Jazz has got your back. There's a plan for every fan. Don't miss out. Secure your seats today and be part of the excitement all season long. Let's go! Visit UtahJazz.com today.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical, and I'm humbled to win Utah's Best of State for 2025 for the 15th year in a row. After 28 years, we're all about you. Over 1,700 five-star Google reviews and a 4.8 customer satisfaction score to prove it. We'll keep working hard for you. I've spent this year advocating with lawmakers for better Medicare reimbursement, ensuring you always have the best access to medical supplies you need. From Idaho Falls to St. George, our 11 stores are your home for comfort. When you hear Alpine Home Medical, think of that best of state experience every single time. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Broadcasting from the Mountain Home Services Studio, this is 97.5 KCNS FM Colville, 1280 KCNS AM Salt Lake City, and 102.7 KSL FM HD2 Salt Lake City Midvale. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Counting you down to kickoff. This is College Football Saturday with Alex Kirry, Christian Esparza, and Alex Napoles on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me as we continue to get you ready for Utah hosting number 17, Cincinnati. It's a big one. Look at that block. Goodness sakes.
Got Arizona State, Iowa State up on the television. Unfortunate, man, for Arizona State to lose Leavitt. They're a very different team without Sam Leavitt.
And Sims did not look particularly good up here in Utah, ripping up a big run there. But, of course, he had an amazing lead block there. The pulling guard absolutely leveled somebody. But anyways, that's beside the point.
We're keeping an eye on it, of course, because it's Big 12 football, man.
It is Big 12 football. We got to talk about the Cincinnati team, man, because it's a dangerous one. They lost their first game of the season at home to Nebraska, and then they have not lost since. One of the top offenses in the Big 12, of course. They are dangerous. They're led by a veteran quarterback with Brendan Sorsby. He's a guy that's been around this league for a very long time. He is top 3 in the conference. He's 5th in passing yards, 3rd in passing touchdowns. He has 20 touchdowns, 1,800 yards. He's a very good player. He's a dude that's been with this program for a while. And, you know, you think of Utah this season, and they've kind of had trouble containing some of the running quarterbacks. That has been a storyline. They haven't really faced a passer like Brendan Sorsby, a pocket passer, a true, game manager type player. And Sorsby's really good, man.
Sorsby's amongst the best in this conference. You look at the leaders right now in passing in this conference. You have Sawyer Robertson at the top for Baylor. You have Josh Hoover 2nd, Rocco Beck 3rd, Jalen Daniels 4th, and then Sorsby's 5th. But the thing that stands out to me the most when it comes to Brendan Sorsby is 1 interception, and he's only been sacked twice this season.
That's ridiculous.
That's a huge testament to that offensive line. That is a huge testament to that offense, man. And Utah, considering what they did last week, right, against Colorado, to me, that's going to be one of the biggest keys and one of the biggest matchups of this one is being able to get to Sorsby, because they've proven that it can be a challenge to get to that quarterback.
Well, and Utah is one of the best teams in the country at getting to the quarterback.
Exactly.
They've had several games this year with at least one player getting multiple sacks.
Yeah.
And it's been John Henry Daly most of the season. We saw Jonathan Hall get to the quarterback a couple times last week. So we know that they have the firepower, and I'm interested to see what Morgan Scalley wants to do today, because last week the game plan was blitz, 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 blitz all night long. You heard Coach Prime say in the post-game presser, he was like, man, they're still blitzing us right now. Like, I think he scarred Coach Prime and the Buffs for life with how much heat he was bringing all night long. That was kind of atypical. We had not seen Morgan Scalley blitz that much. I'm assuming that they will kind of go back to their older game plan tonight because it's dangerous to blitz an experienced veteran quarterback like Sorsby. So we will see what they do, man. But you're right. That's what he does. That's part of what makes Cincinnati's offense so dangerous is their quarterback. Yes, he can put up stats, but the main thing that he does is he doesn't hurt the team. He doesn't hurt the team with giveaways. He doesn't hurt the team by taking sacks. That's where the experience comes in. That's where it can hurt you. And that's where Utah really needs to take the game into their hands being at home. And we saw, how many times the Musk caused a false start this season. So little things like that are going to be what turns the tide of this game.
And it's interesting you bring that up as far as the Musk causing the false starts, because that was something that Brandon Sorsby talked about during the week. He was on, I don't remember what show
did
it was.
He?
Yeah, he was on, I think he was on with On 3. And they asked him about rice cycles. They asked him about the environment. And he said, look, we had the neutral game at Arrowhead Stadium, but really it was mostly Nebraska fans. And they were loud, and we did the silent cadence. And so we've experienced that type of noise. We've experienced that type of environments. And so we'll probably pull out the silent cadence and see what we can do at rice cycles. So he's feeling it, man.
They're going to have to do something.
He's ready for it.
He says he is, right? But
right.
It's
right,
hard to
but
know until
exactly.
you're here.
It's different once you're actually under the lights and the student section is right on top of you.
He hasn't played here at night before.
Exactly.
And it's a different beast. And again, as we were talking about earlier in the show, it took Utah so long to build up that reputation and make it such a scary place to play. And then their first season in the Big 12, they kind of lost that. And it's not like the environment got worse. It's just we all know the storyline. They did not know what to do at quarterback all year. And that tanked the season. That tanked their home record. Now you're slowly building that up and making it kind of known amongst your new peers in the Big 12. Like, hey, we are one of the toughest places to play. And, if you have to come here, you're going to have to earn your win because it's not going to come easy. And this Cincinnati offense, that's what they are. I guess they are an offensive team, right? Their defense is middle of the pack amongst the Big 12. They're not nearly as leaky as Colorado, but it's not as strong as they saw with BYU. It's not as strong as Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So I do think that Utah is going to be able to move the ball, and especially on the ground, especially with a healthy Devin Dampier. And now we've got a newfound rushing attack. Apparently Daniel Bray is the guy. Wayshawn Parker continuing to get some touches. Nakari Rogers kind of falling behind. So I'm curious to see how that split continues to look because you've got basically three different running backs who could tote the rock as well as your quarterback.
When it comes to the rushing game, I'd still obviously Utah is still one of the best in the country. Right now you have inflated numbers too with the phenomenal rushing attack that you had against Colorado last week, but they are amongst the top 5 in the country when it comes to running the ball, and I think that's going to be huge. It's going to be your ability to run the ball against this Cincinnati Bearcats team because, like you mentioned, they're a little bit right now middle of the pack when it comes to stopping the run and defending the run, and Utah again can take advantage of that, and they should take advantage of that. But one of the even bigger deficiencies is their passing defense. So again, the call is to Utah. What can you do against a defense who's also not the best at containing the passing attack?
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I think they'll just run the ball 40 times. That's what I wouldn't throw the ball. I don't know. I'm obviously being a little hyperbolic, but the passing game scares me. Utah's passing game scares me. And
that's a problem, right? Because we saw what happens. We saw what happens when you're unable to pass the ball too against a team like Texas Tech. We saw what happens when you're unable to pass the ball against BYU.
Right.
And you have to find some sort of balance. You have to have some sort of balance.
You do need a passing game. Otherwise, of course, they're going to stack the box. The way that Utah loses this game is if they try to throw themselves into it, and now you're facing 3rd and 10 because you couldn't move the ball through the air.
Stay ahead of the chains.
And so, if it gets into a situation where, they're forcing Utah to throw, in my head, that's the only way that Cincinnati comes out and wins this one. If Utah's putting up 200, 250 yards on the ground, 300.
Right.
It's a win. Of course, it's much easier said than done, and you're right. You do need somewhat of a threat of the pass, but I would just try to stick to what this Utah team knows, and that's putting the ball on the ground. Not literally, right? You don't want to fumble.
Bruising him at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's running behind your first-round picks on the offensive line. That's getting behind those big fellas and running the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not saying to completely walk away from, the run, because obviously that's what's been working for Utah the last couple of home games, but have some type of balance, have some type of semblance to in the passing game, and that will allow you to stay balanced, and that will allow you to move the ball efficiently against this Cincinnati defense. Because again, like you mentioned, they are a little bit middle of the pack.
Yeah, and their defensive line isn't great. We've seen them get exposed a few times, so it's going to be interesting. What do you think of? I want to continue talking about this run game. Daniel Bray kind of came out of nowhere, and he's kind of been the lead guy now over the past couple of weeks. Do you think that that's going to keep up, or do you think it's kind of going to go back to Wayshawn Parker, or is it kind of a hot hand sort of thing?
It could be a hot hand sort of thing, because I feel like the last couple of weeks, right, Daniel Bray has come in and has shown that he has a hot hand, and has shown that he has the ability to be a fun and electric runner, right? But also, you don't want to take it away from Wayshawn Parker, because Wayshawn Parker too has been fantastic. Nikari Rogers has taken a little bit of a backseat. I think last week he had, 4 carries? But mostly they were all in the red zone, right? He does end up getting the touchdown.
Last week was 8 for 25, but the week before it was 1 carry against BYU.
That's right. It was 1 carry against BYU, and then it seems like right now Wayshawn and Daniel Bray have kind of are separating themselves a little bit. Last week it was mostly Wayshawn, right? 10 carries for 145 yards, but then against in the game against BYU, Daniel Bray came in and showed some electric, man. Showed some speed.
I mean, I guess that's what happens over the course of a season, right? You're going to have some of the younger players step up and come into themselves and really figure out the college game, because it is a big adjustment. And that's, I guess, what Wayshawn Parker and Nikari Rogers were both kind of missing, was the home run speed. And we did see Wayshawn Parker have a big play earlier in the season, right? But they don't have the type of speed where it's like, okay, they can score from anywhere on the field. And that's what Daniel Bray is. And it's interesting when you look at the speed that Devin Dampier has, or the speed that Bird Ficklin has, and it really makes the offense think. And I think that's what Utah was trying to do against BYU with those jet sweep motions that we kept seeing Daniel Bray get sent in, and then they would kind of do the option off of that play. So if you can build on top of that and continue to have the threat of Wayshawn Parker up the middle, or Nikari Rogers up the middle, and kind of run essentially a triple option there, that's, I guess, the way that this Utah offense is evolving. And again, it's not going to be stagnant. It's not going to look the same that it looks week 1 versus how it looks in week 12. They're going to change things throughout the year as you have players get hurt or step up and improve and get better. So Bray is kind of the storyline this year, as far as, who's making a name for themselves that wasn't really a name before the season. And again, a young guy that could stick with this football team potentially. We know that Wayshawn Parker is young as well. So now if you're looking at, a backfield of Bray and Parker over the next, season and a half, this is a backfield that can really do some damage for a team that wants to run the football. So you've got 2 guys that can be dangerous.
And I think Wayshawn has been. It's been fun watching Wayshawn Parker run the ball behind the tackles and being able to, when you got guys like Spencer Fano and you got guys like Caleb Lomu leading the way, it makes life a little bit easier, right? And it makes life a little bit better for those running backs. And Wayshawn has been fantastic running off the tackles and finding those opportunities and breaking through and making some big runs for Utah. And like you mentioned earlier, I think a big thing for Utah tonight is going to be able to find find that same success in the run game, be able to move the ball, stay in front of the chains, and keep yourself in manageable situations, and bruise them in the running game.
Now, we do not have ESPN in the studio because of the dispute with YouTube TV. So we are not able to watch game day, sadly, unfortunately. But we have seen on social media the picks are in from the game day panel. Kirk Herbstreit, the only non-believer. Everybody else on the panel picking Utah for this one. Kirk Herbstreit said Cincinnati.
Pat McAfee, shirtless again.
Again?
Stands up on the chair and screams Utah. It's all about the Utes tonight for him.
You know what? I'm glad that Kirk Herbstreit picked Cincinnati because if you have one person,
it's the curse, man.
Yeah. If everybody picks Utah, it's the kiss of death.
Yeah.
That is a very dangerous thing. You want to have somebody kind of offsetting that to ensure that the Utes get the win. So that's huge if you're a Utah fan.
And again, I think it comes down to, it comes down to these guys coming in, seeing Utah, and seeing the revamped offense, seeing that this is a very different offense and a very different team than what we knew to know Utah be last season. It's been a revival this season for Utah. It's been a resurgence, and I think again, the national respect that this program is earning again from the perspective of somebody like a College Game Day. Somebody like a Big Noon coming in and featuring their program twice already this season, that's massive. And that's a testament to Jason Beck. That's a testament to Kyle Whittingham. And being able to put last season behind them and revive the offense in the way that they have this season, they're earning that respect. And tonight they have a huge chance and a huge opportunity to go out there and stop a really good offense, man. Stop a really good offense and keep yourself in the conversation of we are still here in the Big 12 and we're here to compete.
Well, this is a classic Utah game, and this is why, why game day's here. It's proving that everybody kind of knows. They're not going to say it, but they know last year was a fluke. Yeah. Last year, Utah's first year in the Big 12 was not how this Utes team is going to operate. They knew that there were some scenarios that kind of affected things all throughout the entire season. So now they are getting the respect back. How many times did we see in the Pac-12 era, a dominant Utah defense taking on a high-powered Pac-12 offense?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're seeing today. It's a really good offensive Cincinnati team coming into Rice-Eccles to play a really good defensive Utah team. And frankly, Utah's offense isn't too shabby either. I mean, they're not bottom of the pack. They're middle. But their rushing offense is one of the top in the country. So again, it's classic Utah football, man. Keep that ball on the ground, control the clock, win with your defense. It really feels like Kyle Whittingham wants to say, hey, we are back, and a perfect opportunity to do that tonight.
Again, they have to show tonight that they have to prove that they're back.
Yeah.
Right? They have to prove it by beating
This is the game.
This is the game. It was the game earlier, of course. It was Texas Tech. They failed that test. The test was BYU. They failed that test. But now this is, like I said earlier, man. There's no tomorrow for Utah. It's do or die. They have to go out there. They have to win if they want to stay alive in this race for potentially making it to Arlington and the nation. The entire conference will be watching because. Of course, Cincinnati.
If they're still awake.
Cincinnati, of course, is the undefeated team in Big 12 play. They have a lot riding on this game too, and there's not a lot and there's not enough talk about Cincinnati and what they've done this season. It feels like now with the national spotlight in Salt Lake City and on Utah, it's been all about the Utes and what they can do to stop Brendan Sorsby, not the other way around.
Well, and we'll talk a little bit more about kind of the Big 12 conference as a whole in the next segment, but we got to talk about this too. Cincinnati, as far as controlling their own destiny and however you want to say it, they need to stay undefeated.
Yeah.
If they want to truly control their chances at making the conference championship, they need to stay undefeated. If you lose today against Utah, at Utah, you still play BYU later this year, and that is going to be a tough game as well. So, you can't let the losses stack up. You can't let the losses come. If you have that 0 next to your name right now in conference play, you are going to make the conference championship as long as you win out. And speaking of Cincinnati, of course.
Right. The longer you have that 0 next to your name on your conference record, the longer you are in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
But that can change tonight.
That can change because if you pick up that loss, you've still got a couple other tough games left on the season, right? You have to host Arizona. It's not going to be easy. You have to host BYU as well.
And that's the biggest one.
And then you have to host TCU to close the year.
Yeah.
So those are, one really hard game, one pretty tough game, and then another game that you can't sleep on.
3 straight at home to close the season?
Yeah.
That's kind of
They have a bye after this week,
Yeah.
and then they close the season with 3 straight home games. Oh, excuse me, no, they're at TCU, sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was about to say that's kind of lucky for them.
Which makes that game harder, being on the road. So,
absolutely.
If Cincinnati picks up their first conference loss today, all of a sudden...
They're no longer in the driver's seat.
No, because you have Tech, and Cincinnati lost the head-to-head matchup against Tech. So
It kind of turns into the conversation we've been having with Utah today as far as Cincinnati goes of you're going to need help, right? The path is still there for you, and it's obviously in better shape than Utah's path because it's just the one loss. But, the reality is you're no longer in the driver's seat because you have Houston, Tech, and Cincinnati in that case, who would be one-loss teams.
Yeah. We will get more into this Big 12 conference race next because, as you're saying, Alex, this stuff could get messy over the last month of college football. So stick with us. We will talk about some of the scenarios coming up next. Also get a quick scoreboard update. Got a huge West Virginia-Houston game going on right now. We will get into that next. Stick with us. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. It's College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Way to hit! The wins just keep on coming for Kalani Sitake and BYU.
LJ goes up, tackle, and gets in for 6.
As the undefeated Cougars get ready for the stretch run of the college football season. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone will be there every step of the way as BYU looks to punch their ticket to the Big 12 title game. And a spot in the college football playoff. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is live, on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Isn't fall one of the best times of year? The weather's cooling down, leaves are changing, and so is our menu at the Garden Restaurant. Stop in and try some Garden favorites. The jalapeno pork sandwich perfectly balances sweet and spice. Plus, all things turkey, the Turkey Club and turkey cranberry sandwiches, or the delicious turkey pot pie that is made fresh daily. Warm up with our yummy soups like our tomato bisque, broccoli cheddar, or chicken noodle. Or pair a crisp salad with a savory sandwich for a delicious duo. What really makes the Garden special is the fresh ingredients and the handmade care that goes into each dish each time it is made. Like our massive cinnamon rolls, shareable between 4 people, our famous Lionhouse rolls, our gooey chocolate chip cookies, or our brand new caramel coconut cereal bar treat. Healthy, hearty, customizable, and very craveable. We're the Garden Restaurant. Convenient location with new street access on the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building. Open weekdays 11 to 3, and soon, extended fall hours. Visit our menu at thegardenslc.com. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant.
You do countless things without a second thought to protect your family and home. Every time you're in the car, you buckle your seatbelt. Before the next load of laundry, you remove the dryer lint. When you head out, you always lock your doors. And one simple task, done far less often, can protect your family and home this winter. Schedule a furnace inspection by a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A friendly reminder from Enbridge Gas.
Helping your money do more means making sure you get the most out of every dollar. That's why, for a limited time, when you open a new America First Visa credit card and spend $3,000 within 90 days, we'll give you $300. That's like getting a 10% discount on everything you pay for with your card. Before you spend another cent, head to AmericaFirst.com and apply for your low-rate Visa credit card today. Membership eligibility, terms, creditworthiness, change, and conditions apply. Subject to additional criteria. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Make game day yours with the Utah Mammoth app. Get your tickets, order food and drinks without leaving your seat, track live stats, and stream every game with Mammoth Plus, all in one place. It's the ultimate game day essential, designed for Mammoth fans. Stay connected to your hometown team and never miss a moment. Download the Utah Mammoth app today on iPhone and Android. Turn on push notifications and make every day game day. Tusks up.
So many commercials you encounter these days include generic people engaged in generic activities, frolicking in generic locations, accompanied by generic music and a generic voiceover. Pharmaceutical commercials are on the cutting edge of this phenomenon. In fact, I find myself less worried about the risk of lockjaw, intermittent loss of smell, or explosive diarrhea, and more concerned that the drug might turn me into a mannequin at Kmart. So what does this have to do with Shamrock Plumbing? Nothing, really. But if you find our commercials over the top, just remember it could be worse. They could be generic.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey.
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog.
Great. Do you have a pool outside?
Nope, just a big old backyard.
Nice. Another question. Are there any unlocked guns in the home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's just talk about what we can bring for dessert.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's. Drop in for one of our delicious gourmet burgers made with 100% choice Grand Chuck. We're in Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Counting you down to kickoff. This is College Football Saturday with Christian Esparza and Alex Napoles on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me. Let's get a quick scoreboard update for you as games around the country are nearing halftime. Number 1, Ohio State up 17-7 over Penn State. Number 20, Texas leads number 9, Vanderbilt 24-10. That would be a huge win for Texas. Number 10, Miami is tied 7-7 at SMU. Then the big one locally that we've all got our eyes on, West Virginia tied with number 22 Houston 21-21. West Virginia did lead 21-7 at one point, but Houston clawing their way back. And Alex, that's where I want to talk about in this segment. Of course, the Big 12 is not going to give us an easy, projection
No.
for who's going to make this championship game in just over a month.
Absolutely not. At this point, it feels like the teams with the 3 losses, they're done for, right? There's not necessarily a path for them to be in that conversation, but there is still a path, and there's still a way for the 2 losses teams to be in that conversation. And I think it mostly comes down to the fact that in this conference, you still have the top teams playing against each other. And what I mean by that is you look at a team like Cincinnati, and they still have a game against BYU, and they still have tonight against Utah. You look at a team like Texas Tech, and they will still host they still host BYU down the line. And so the conversation and the potential of a 2-loss conference, two losses in conference play team to make it to Arlington is still on the table, and that of course includes TCU, Arizona State, Kansas State, and Utah. But right now in the driver's seat, BYU and Cincinnati, the only undefeateds in Big 12 play.
Yeah, and then of course Texas Tech with 1 loss. So right now, it's a very, very outside chance for the 2-loss teams, right? But if Tech picks up another loss, if Houston picks up another loss, Cincinnati, we mentioned earlier, has to play BYU and Utah. It's a very real possibility that they lose 2 of those games. BYU still has to play Texas Tech and TCU. You never know what could happen there. So there's a lot of chaos that could come down the stretch here. Yeah,
and I think just to kind of point that out, right? TCU is one of those 2-loss teams. They're still in a similar situation where we see Utah in right now, in that it's not completely out of the conversation. And I think TCU realizes that they know that they have to win out to even give themselves a shot. And so that game against BYU, It's a massive one, man.
Well, and this is TCU's schedule to close the season. They're on bye this week.
Yeah.
Next week, they host Iowa State. Then they're at BYU, at Houston, and then they host Cincinnati. That's a tough stretch.
That's another thing. The teams at the top still play each other. I didn't even take into account that Cincinnati was still playing TCU.
Yeah.
So
Again, it's a tough game.
Anything can happen, man. Anything can happen. It's fun to watch out how all these scenarios are playing out. And, of course, I think from looking at it from a BYU perspective, it feels like, similarly to the conversation we had with Cincinnati earlier in the last segment, they're in the driver's seat, right? They are in full control of of where they end up being at the end of the season. However, you take a loss and things get a little nervy.
Yeah.
Things get a little nervy.
Well, it depends on who that loss comes against, right? Of course, if you lose to Texas Tech and then you both finish with only one conference loss, then they're going to have the head-to-head win. But, if they pick up a loss against Cincinnati, who knows what that could end up looking like. So, yeah, we know that BYU is in the middle of a very tough stretch of games, and it started kind of with Arizona, I guess. We knew at Arizona versus Utah, at Iowa State, at Texas Tech versus TCU, at Cincinnati. One of the hardest stretches in BYU football history. But so far through that stretch, they are 3-0. And on a bye week today before they play the back half of that brutal schedule. But again, you're going to play TCU at home at least. And even if you would have said, like, before that stretch started that BYU would come out of that 4-2, I think everybody would have been happy.
I think so.
So still, you're 3-0 through that stretch. You've got 3 more tough games to play. It's not going to be easy at Texas Tech. It's not going to be easy at Cincinnati. It's not even going to be easy at home versus TCU, but you still have a very real chance of going at least 1-2 over these final 3 games. Of course, 3-0 would be the best case scenario, and that's a very real possibility too.
I think for obviously, sitting at 5-0, I think for BYU, the path is a lot easier. The path is a lot clearer, right?
Control your destiny. That's literally what that means.
It's pretty simple. It's a simple scenario where if Texas Tech wins out and BYU doesn't lose a second game, it's Texas Tech BYU in the Big 12 championship game. A rematch of that game that's coming up here in Lubbock next week. However, though, if BYU does lose a second game, and then we enter a whole plethora of scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Because if BYU ends up losing a second game in conference play, then the question is, was it to Cincinnati? And if it was to Cincinnati, then you're potentially looking at a Texas Tech-Cincinnati Big 12 championship game.
But again, Cincinnati still has to go through both Utah and BYU.
Exactly. So does Cincinnati lose a second game? Do they win out? Right? There's still, if BYU loses a second game in conference play, then that's when things really get complicated.
Yeah.
Of course, depending on what happens with everybody else, but that's where the wild scenarios come in. Even possible scenarios, right, where even potentially Utah makes it. Or if BYU doesn't lose a second game, right, you might have a BYU-Utah game in the Big 12 championship.
That would be awesome, man. And again, it's not a super realistic possibility, but it's still not mathematically out. That would be very cool. Fortunately for that scenario, if Utah were somehow to make the championship game, the highest odds of an opponent would be against BYU.
Yeah.
Most of the scenarios in which Utah somehow makes the game are against BYU.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool. A rematch in Arlington for all the marbles. But again, it's hard to say right now with Cincinnati still 0 conference losses, Houston, Texas Tech only with 1, and then, of course, BYU 0 conference losses. So you've got 4 teams ahead of you right now if you're Utah. And I think the biggest thing, which is kind of funny because we spent some time talking about this, but all you can really do is worry about this week.
Right.
And tonight with Utah, it starts with Cincinnati. And all you can worry about is beating the Bearcats tonight. And BYU is on a bye, and then they focus at Texas Tech. And that's all they can worry about is the one game at a time thing and just beat their opponent who's in front of them. And it's kind of hard to not get distracted by everything that's going on. For example, like if West Virginia were to beat Houston today, like that's a big deal. And it's hard for the players to not be talking about that in the locker room. And then if you're a coach, you have to be like, hey, talk about that another day. Like, worry about this game tonight first, and then we can worry about scenarios.
Yes.
Because there's still 4 games left to play.
And I think that's the most important thing for Utah. It's not getting caught up in these scenarios, right? We sit here in front of these mics and we have that ability to get caught up in these scenarios, and we have the ability to look at this, right? Because we don't have to play tonight. We don't have that stress upon us. But for the players, first and foremost, you have to win. Before you can even think about the scenarios, before you can even think about the situation that you're in, you have to go out there and you have to win, because the reality is you lose tonight and that conversation of you being in a Big 12 championship game, it's off the table.
Do you think that Devin Dampier is going to be playing with a little extra fire in his gut tonight after hearing all week people talking about benching him? Do you think you heard any of that noise?
Possibly.
It's hard to say because of the players love to tell you, oh, I'm not online, I don't see anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know they see it. It was loud this week, too. It was loud. There were a lot of people talking about it. There were people, I think all of the shows at least brought it up once or twice. People were talking about it online, of course. Like, it has been a big narrative for Utah. And just to kind of reset our opinions on that a little bit, you and I are both kind of in agreement there. Like, I think that's jumping the gun a little bit. People are acting like Bird Ficklin looked much better than Devin Dampier last week, and I just don't think that's the case. I think Colorado was a very bad defense.
Yeah.
It was a very good opportunity for a true freshman to make his first start, and he did some really good things, but let's not pretend like Devin Dampier hasn't done really good things this season as well.
Is that performance replicated, say, against Arizona State a couple weeks ago?
Devin Dampier's performance? You're asking if he can do that again?
Bird. Oh. If Bird's performance is replicated against Arizona State.
Could Bird Ficklin do what he did versus Colorado against Arizona State?
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe he does, because the scheme is very well built towards these players' abilities, right? And we heard the cut from Jason Beck earlier talking about the way they fit in this offense. But at the same time, like, Devin Dampier had 120 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns against Arizona State. Now, he didn't pop the big one like we saw Ficklin do against Colorado, and I think there's some thought that maybe Bird Ficklin is a better athlete than Devin Dampier, which is crazy because Devin Dampier is a phenomenal runner. That's like his whole thing. So, I don't know. I think it's funny how people kind of hold on to the shiny new toy, and it's really easy to forget, apparently, that Devin Dampier is a really good player who's done some great things in this offense.
I love that you bring up that that's his thing, because I don't know if this was done on purpose or if it was truly accidental. But earlier today, to kick off College Game Day, Pat McAfee called him running back Devin Dampier.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if he just got it mixed up. Yeah. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but I thought it was funny that he was like, running back Devin Dampier's back.
I mean, frankly, that's where he's done 90% of his damage on the ground this year, is as a runner as opposed to a thrower. And I don't know. He's got the chemistry with the OC. He's got the chemistry with Ryan Davis. He's got the chemistry with, Buchanan and Bentley. Like, I just don't think we've seen anything that would say, number one, that he's not the guy, or number two, say that Bird Ficklin is better.
Yeah.
It's hard to make that judgment based off of one game against a bad team.
And again, it's what we talked about earlier, man. It's hard to make that judgment off the one team, but at the same time, you do see the potential and you do see the ceiling there for Bird Ficklin, right?
Yeah.
Again, what we talked about, it potentially down the line and potentially heading into the next season, you might have a fun, interesting quarterback battle. But I think for right now, Devin Dampier has the leadership, he has the experience, and this is the type of game tonight where you want your Devin Dampier to be starting. This is the type of game where you want that veteran leadership, and you want a guy who's been familiar with Jason Beck's system, and a guy who knows this offense to come in and help lead this offense to what you hope is going to be a big win against a big conference rival.
Yeah, and once the portal opens up, that's a different conversation. But guess what? That doesn't happen until the season's over.
Yeah.
And if it does come down to it and it's like, okay, we can choose this guy who are paying X amount of dollars, or we can choose this other guy who we're still going to have to pay, but it's maybe 50% or 75% of what we're paying the other guy, then that's where you can kind of break things down and say, is it worth it to make that choice and yada, yada, yada. But there's no benefit in going to Bird Ficklin right now.
Yeah.
It would be going to him just because. It's not like this is a lost season. It's not like Devin Dampier has been a failure. You lost to two really good football teams.
Yeah.
And you can't blame Devin Dampier for those losses.
And not to doom Utah or anything. But if the Utes aren't able to get the win tonight against Cincinnati, and right, you're out of the conference race, why not start Bird Ficklin the rest of the way?
Well, like I brought up earlier, dude, like honestly, if you think he's that good and that special,
yeah,
you want to keep him hidden. Because if you switch to him for the final 3 games of the season and he goes on a tear and looks really, really good, all that's going to do for Utah is raise his price tag.
Yeah, but Kyle Whittingham also said that the best way to help this guy develop and the best way to grow is to get him in-game opportunities and to let him be on the field. So if you're out of the race, right, again, not to doom Utah, there's still a game that needs to be played, but if you are out of the race after tonight, you lose to Cincinnati here at home, do you start playing Bird Ficklin more and allow him to get some of that experience? Because you still have some tests down the road, right?
Yeah.
You still have Kansas State. You still have a Baylor. You still have, what's the last game? At Lawrence, at Kansas.
And a bowl game.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing, too, where they're going to have, we know they're bowl eligible at least. They're going to have basically the whole month of December to continue to practice. Maybe during the last game of the season, you throw Bird in and just say, oh, yeah, Devin Dampier's hurt or whatever. But again, it just feels pointless to bench Devin Dampier when he hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe he comes out today and lays an absolute egg, and that's a completely different conversation. But in my mind, Utah's not bad enough to turn the page to next year. There's still a lot left to play for. They could still go to, their metaphorical Alamo Bowl and have a really great end to the 2025 season to symbol the resurgence of Utah football and all this and all that. But yeah, if Utah comes out and they score 10 points against Cincinnati's 34 today, then yeah, you can probably think about things and have the tough conversations there. But in my mind, it's like there's just no point to it yet. Now, again, once you get down the road, if Utah drops their next 2 games, maybe you look at Bird for the final start of the season and then give him the reps with the ones ahead of the bowl game, and then assume that Devin Dampier would hit the transfer portal at the end of January or whatever. I guess that's what that scenario could look like. But right now, dude, this is Devin Dampier's team.
This is Devin Dampier's team in it. They're going to need him tonight to have a massive performance, man. They're going to need him tonight to come out and be able to lead this team, of course, to success and to lead them to victory. Because again, there's still stuff. There is still massive Big 12 championship game implications on the line right tonight. And what we were talking about earlier, in order to have these conversations and in order to have the conversations of the scenarios of how things can play out and how Cincinnati still plays BYU. They still play TCU. They still play, they have this game against Utah tonight. To have any of those conversations, first and foremost, you got to go out there and you got to win.
Number 24, Utah, hosting number 17, Cincinnati, 8:15 kick. Probably going to be closer to 8:30. We'll see. That game is coming up. Of course, game day's in town. It's a big one here in Salt Lake City. We will give our keys to the game and our picks for the winner coming up next. Stay with us. College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hey folks, it's Jay Broadbent here with Alpine Home Medical, celebrating 28 years of keeping Utah and Idaho comfortable and at home. Back in 97, I started with a truck, a dream, and a lot more hair. Today, we've got 11 stores from Idaho Falls to St. George. From the moment you step into our clean, welcoming showrooms, you'll feel the Alpine difference. Our team will be there to listen and guide you to the best solutions for your needs. We believe that the right equipment can transform lives. We're honored to be a part of your healthcare journey and to help you live the life you deserve. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
Bar Dub Grill is where roadside classics meet ranch-raised flavor. Sink your teeth into juicy, handcrafted burgers made with premium Bar W beef straight from the local Utah farm. From the bold cowboy barbecue burger to the sweet and savory Aloha burger, paired with crispy cowboy fries, hand-spun shakes, or signature spud nuts. Soft, airy, and unforgettable. Bar Dub Grill delivers honest eats with cowboy swagger. Bar Dub Grill in Nephi with easy access right off exit 222 in Nephi.
It might only be October, but Utah is getting ready for a brand new immersive holiday tradition in South Jordan. Step into the magic and holiday lights at the ballpark at America First Square, sponsored by Mickey Couture. A walk through winter wonderland like no other. Dazzling lights, festive music, and family fun for all ages starting November 14th. Reserve your tickets now at the ballpark at afs.com. Make this season unforgettable by celebrating Utah's newest holiday tradition. Holiday lights at the ballpark.
Being a caregiver for a family member can be very rewarding. It can be very challenging, too. Besides taking a physical and emotional toll, it can also take a real financial toll, especially if you're paying for home safety upgrades, covering medical expenses, cutting back on hours at your job, or having to leave your job altogether. In some states and in certain situations, you may be eligible to get paid for the care you provide, but finding reliable information about caregiver compensation can be overwhelming and very time-consuming. The AARP Foundation Paid for Care Hub can help. It's a free online tool developed with support from United Healthcare, where you can search compensation programs, explore your options, and get answers to frequently asked questions. Find out today if it's possible to be compensated for the time, effort, and care you're providing. Visit paidforcare.aarpfoundation.org to learn more.
Stay up to date with everything Utah Jazz related with the new Jazz Notes newsletter. Get draft updates, analysis, and be the first to know about every off-season move. Visit KSLSports.com to sign up for the Jazz Notes newsletter. The KSL Sports Zone and Hercules Credit Union are highlighting people that impact youth sports. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com.
Counting you down to kickoff. This is College Football Saturday with Christian Esparza and Alex Napoles on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
College Football Saturday, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Napoles, Christian Esparza sitting alongside me as we get another edition of College Football Saturday wrapped up. And of course, one of the things we love to do here in the final segment is Keys to the Game. Number 24 Utah taking on number 17 Cincinnati tonight, 8:15 kickoff. A massive, massive game with Big 12 championship game implications on the line. Christian, what do you got today for your Keys to the Game?
You could go with all the cliches here, right? I'm going to go with you got to make Cincinnati's offense uncomfortable. I'm talking about getting after him. I'm talking about sacking him. Again, we talked about how many sacks. He's taken 2 sacks the entire season. So it's a tall task. But that's Utah's calling card. You got to dominate that line of scrimmage defensively. You got to get after him. The muss has to be loud. I know that Sorsby thinks that they can win with their silent count and whatever. That's cute. Show me.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Utah is the home team tonight. They have the advantage over Cincinnati's offense. Let's see it.
Got to get to Sorsby, right? You have one of the nation's best players as far as sack numbers go, and that's John Henry Daly, sitting at 9.5 at the moment.
That's crazy.
And this Cincinnati team is only allowed 2 sacks all season long. Get to Sorsby, man. Make him uncomfortable. Force him into throwing another interception, right? He only has the 1 pick on the season. For as great as Sorsby has been at protecting the football and staying in front of the chains, not allowing sacks, Utah's defense seems opportunistic in the way of getting that pressure on the quarterback. And let's see it, man. Get some sacks on Sorsby. Make him uncomfortable. This is probably, up to this point, this is probably the best defense Cincinnati's faced all season, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best defense in the conference, so that would make sense. Well, it's one of the best defenses. Sorry, Cougar fans.
For me, I think 250 rushing.
I like it.
That's the key to the game as far as the offensive side of the football goes. You got to get 250 plus rushing. Continue to rely on the massive rushing attack that you saw last week, and be able to get that win against Cincinnati. Picks, man.
Give me Utah. Give me 24-21. It's going to be a tough one.
I think Utah takes it 28-35. High scoring football. That's going to do it for us here on College Football Saturday. Remember the post-game show immediately following the conclusion of Utah-Cincinnati. And this has been another edition of College Football Saturday here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether you're stuck in the office,
I believe you have my stapler.
in your car, or at your in-laws,
You want a piece of me? You bet I do.
the Zone is with you every step of the way. Download the KSL Sports app to get live streaming of your favorite shows and access to all the latest updates on your favorite teams. Your home for the best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, Benjamin, we've got a surprise for you.
What?
You have a brother. $100 bill just like you.
Hey, I'm Ben.
What?
We just got him for joining America First Credit Union.